Chapter 111 goes straight to Qing Yun. Yunchu was the softest. When she saw the little beggar called Qing Si crying until she was out of breath, she took out a handkerchief and handed it to her. "Don't cry anymore. Wipe your tears." Qing Si took the handkerchief and wiped it randomly. Then, she said stubbornly, "Who said that girls are definitely not as good as boys? I, Qing Si, want to prove that I am 100 times better than those useless people in my family. You are ambitious. Let me introduce you to the members of our group. This is my fourth brother, Yun Chuzi, and this is my beloved fifth sister, Yun Chu." Yun Chujio introduced the members of the Yun family to Qing Si. "By the way, Qing Si, how old are you?" 15. Yun Chujio squatted on the ground and clapped her hands. "Ah, this is great. I am still the youngest. In the future, there will be one more person to bully." Qing Si. "Can I go back on my word? Why does it feel like I'm on a pirate ship?" Yun Chuzi coughed dryly. "Well, now that we're all here, shouldn't we think of a name? Otherwise, how would we announce our name to the public?" Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. "Why don't we call it straight up Qing Yun? Coincidentally, our surname also has Qing Sis Qing character. I'm so talented." Everyone thought that this name was not bad. Not only did it contain the Yun character and the Qing character, but it also had a good meaning. They all praised Yun Chujio's name for being brilliant. Yun Chujio naturally showed off for a while. Then, she held her stomach and led everyone to the disciple in charge of the test to register. Straight to the Qing Yun? When the disciple in charge of the registration heard the name of the group that Yun Chuzi mentioned, he could not help but raise his eyebrows in disdain. Just these 7 people in front of him and they still wanted to go straight to the Qing Yun? It was simply wishful thinking. The other groups that were waiting for registration also laughed at him. TSK, some people are really thick-skinned. To go straight to Qing Yun, I think they are really shameless. That's right, the most powerful one is only at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm, and there is also a trash without spiritual power. If he can really pass the 3 rounds of tests, I will write his name upside down. Brother Chi, if your name is upside down, it won't sound good. Chi bai, idiot ha. Screw you. It's impossible for them to pass, so of course, I don't have to really write my name upside down. Qing Sis' expression was somewhat unsightly. When she was in the family, she had also been ridiculed and looked down upon like this. Could it be that she had made the wrong bet by choosing Yun Chujio and the others? No. She must be very powerful, so she decided to follow her. Yun Chujio didn't know that she had unintentionally gained a fangirl. This fellow narrowed his eyes and remembered the few people who spoke in his heart. It wasn't too late for little Gio to take revenge. Just you wait. Speaking of which, it was a coincidence. She did not know whether Bai Moyu and the others had come here on purpose or not. Yun Chujio sized up their group. Other than the Bai siblings and the embarrassed Yun Chushan, there were 2 men and 2 women. The 2 men were at the 6th level spirit enhancement while the 2 women were at the 5th level spirit enhancement. When Yun Chuki saw that Yun Chushan was indeed with Bai Moyu and the others, she was instantly furious. "Yun Chushan, you're really good. You were acting like a little white lotus before, but now you've revealed your true colors." Yun Chushan snorted coldly, "I don't feel that there's anything wrong with me when I walk higher and lower. Be more polite with your words. When I enter the Linghua sect, the Yun family and all of you will have to rely on me." Yun Chujio tugged at Yun Chuki's sleeve. She said pitifully, "Third sister, we won't stop you if you walk higher, but you should never have formed a team with our Yun family's sworn enemy. Moreover, you conspired with them to drug me. It really makes me sad. Fortunately, I brought some medicinal herbs. Otherwise, I would definitely be forced to withdraw from the test." Chapter 112 The shameless Yun Chujio. When the onlookers heard Yun Chujio's words, they were immediately energized. "Yo, there's a story behind this. Yun Chushan was originally guilty, and now that Yun Chujio had exposed her, she was in a very sorry state. She could only say randomly, 'You're spouting nonsense. You're spouting nonsense. You're just jealous of me.' Yun Chujio could not help but smile bitterly. She said in a heartbroken manner, 'Third sister, am I jealous of you? I helped you obtain your qualification to take the test. If I'm jealous of you, why should I do anything unnecessary? Forget it, justice is in the heart of the people. Since you're so cruel, let's not have any interactions in the future. Let's go. The bystanders had always sympathized with the weak. Although they had previously despised Yunchujio and the others, they were now targeting Yunchu and Baimoyu. TSK, that woman is quite good-looking. I didn't expect her to have such a black heart. Yeah, isn't she just an ingrate? And that Baimoyu is probably not a good person either. Shoo, keep your voice down. I heard that Baimoyu is related to Elder Shao. Don't make things difficult for us when the time comes. Baimoyu almost vomited blood from anger. This Yunchujio was really a scourge. Just 2 sentences had ruined his reputation. Yunchujio, just you wait. When you are eliminated, I will definitely kill you. Baimoru glared at Yunchushan. She didn't know what her brother was thinking. He actually let Yunchushan team up with them. He was really a jinx. He had dragged them down just as he arrived. Yunchushan smiled at Baimoru ingratiatingly. Now that she had completely offended Yunchujio and the others, she could only cling onto the sibling's thighs. After a quarter of an hour, the disciple in charge of the test shouted, "Those who are taking part in the test, go to the designated area to take part in the test." Yunchujio held her stomach and was protected by Yunchu and the rest as they stepped into the designated area. The members of the Qingyun team only saw a white light flash before their eyes. The scene before their eyes had already changed. At this moment, they were standing on an empty piece of land. Other than the 7 of them, there was no one else. In front of them was a stone staircase that stretched as far as the eye could see. It directly reached into the clouds, as if it directly reached the sky. The most shocking thing was that the angle of the stone step increased as it went up. The part that reached into the clouds was almost perpendicular to the ground. If they accidentally fell down, they would definitely be smashed into minced meat. Just when everyone was shocked, a voice sounded, "Disciples participating in the test, you need to In addition, all of you must reach it. The test begins now." Yunchujio stared at the stone steps in front of her and rolled her eyes. What was this test? The first round of the test should not be particularly difficult. It should be a test of courage, stamina, and endurance. Cough, cough, I have something to say. Yunchujio did not pretend to be weak at this moment. She put her small hands behind her back and said in a pretentious manner, "Little Jio, when did we choose you to be the team leader?" Yunchuki curled her lips. Yunchujio widened her eyes. "We had an agreement when we came from Yi City. You all have to listen to me. Did you all go back on your word?" Yunchuki rolled her eyes and did not speak. Yunchujio then continued, "This stone step test should be a test of everyone's courage, stamina, and endurance. I believe that everyone is very brave, not to mention stamina and endurance. Everyone will definitely pass it." Without waiting for everyone to express their opinions, Yunchujio said shamelessly, "However, as you all know, I'm quite useless. So while you guys climb, you should also conserve some of your stamina. When I can't climb anymore, you guys will take turns carrying me." Chapter 113 Secret Medicine. After hearing Yunchujio's thick-skinned words, although the corners of the eyes of the other 6 people twitched, they all tacitly agreed. After all, they needed all of them to pass. Seeing this, Yunchujio was very satisfied. She waved her small claws and said, "Let's go." At the beginning, everyone was very relaxed. They were chatting and laughing, but Yunchujio immediately stopped them with a stern voice. "Don't talk, save your strength." Everyone was dejected and didn't speak anymore. They thought that little Jio was too serious. Although this stone step was a little long, with their strength, there shouldn't be any problems. As time passed, everyone no longer thought that way. This stone step seemed to have no end, and the angle was getting bigger and bigger. Everyone's legs seemed to be filled with lead, and their clothes were soaked in sweat. Yunchuki lost her balance and almost fell down. Fortunately, Yunchuzi pulled her back. As a result, everyone became a little timid, afraid that they would fall down if they lost their balance. Yunchujio giggled. "Don't worry, even if you fall down, you won't die. This must be some kind of trick. Climb with all your might. I'm still waiting for you to carry me. Hearing this, Yun Chu and the others couldn't help but relax a little. However, hearing little Jio's voice, she wasn't panting at all. It was really strange. Little Jio's physical strength was actually better than theirs. If they turned around to look at Yun Chujio, they would definitely be even more surprised. Not only was Yun Chujio not panting at all, but her forehead was also only sweating a little. Yun Chujio looked at their backs and shook her head. The Qing Xian continent placed too much emphasis on cultivating spiritual power. Instead, they lacked the training of flexibility and endurance. In the future, they would need to help them train. After another hour, everyone had reached the limits of their bodies. Every step was extremely difficult. Basically, they had to drag the railing next to them and climb up. Moreover, there was a cloud of mist surrounding them, and they still couldn't see the end of it. Everyone couldn't help but feel a little disheartened. Yun Chujio estimated that there was still an hour left. Time was about to run out, so she had to think of something. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and opened the small bag that she carried with her. Then she took out a paper bag. Hey, I have the secret medicine that grandfather gave me. After you eat it, you can quickly recover your strength. Here, I'll give each of you one. When everyone heard this, their spirits were immediately lifted. They took the secret medicine that Yun Chujio handed over and were stunned. Little Jio, isn't this the candied fruit? Is it really a secret medicine? Yun Chujio nodded her head with. Otherwise, how else could I have persevered until now? Everyone thought about it and agreed. If it wasn't for the secret medicine, how could little Jio, who didn't have spiritual power, be so powerful? She didn't look tired at all. She was much stronger than us. Everyone ate the secret medicine in their hands one after another. Sure enough, they felt their bodies suddenly filled with energy. Little Jio, this secret medicine is really useful. I think I can climb this far. Exactly, I feel my whole body is full of energy now. Let alone climbing this step, I can even defeat a level 2 demonic beast. That's right. My legs are no longer hurting and my waist is no longer sore. I can climb up 6 steps in one go. Yun Chujio was embarrassed. This phrase sounded a little familiar. Alright, since everyone has recovered their strength, let's hurry up and climb up. It's almost time. Yun Chujio urged everyone with a stern face. When everyone heard Yun Chujio's words, they immediately felt like they were injected with stimulants as they tried their best to climb up. Chapter 114 was a clever design. Yun Chujio looked at the backs of the people who were trying their best to climb up. A cunning look flashed across her eyes. These innocent children were really easy to fool. However, she did not plan to tell them the truth. Perhaps this secret medicine would still be useful in the future. After 15 minutes, they finally saw the end of the stone steps. The crowd was even more excited. Just as they were about to climb up in one go, Yun Chujio quickly shouted, "Wait!" Everyone was very puzzled. Little Jio, what's wrong? Don't go up yet? Didn't the person who tested previously say that only after passing the first round of the test can we proceed to the second round of the test? Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. There must be a story behind this. Yes, is there a problem? It's better to hurry up and go up. We're running out of time. Yun Chulu was a hot-tempered person. Seeing that the time was almost up, he could not help but feel a little anxious. Yun Chujio rubbed her chin, her eyeballs rolled around. Sixth brother, don't be anxious, don't be anxious. I thought about it just now. It's very likely that the second round of the test is directly above this step. If we don't make any preparations and just recklessly rush up, it's very likely that we'll directly choke on our farts. It can't be? The Linghua sect can't be that abnormal, right? Although we ate the secret medicine, we're also exhausted. We definitely won't be able to pass any test that's arranged for us. Yun Chulu said in surprise. I think it's very possible. Do you think that the Linghua sect is so easy to enter? Little Jio, then what should we do? Yun Chuki felt that Yun Chujio's words made a lot of sense. Anyway, there's still time. You guys take a rest first and I'll think about it. Yun Chujio rubbed her chin, and her brain started to work quickly. If she was the person who designed the test segment, after testing her courage and physical strength, what test would she do? Yes, that's right. It should be her reaction speed. There must be people or demon beasts lying in ambush, or it could be a formation or something like that. Brothers and sisters, there must be an ambush up there, but the test will only be triggered after all of us go up. Among us, fourth brother has the highest spiritual power, and he can also release his spiritual power. How about this, we go up first? Fourth brother, wait for us to be ready, then you go up. Yun Chujio waved her small claws. She made a decision immediately. Everyone seemed to be used to listening to Yun Chujio's orders and began to carry out her orders without any doubt. Thus, Yun Chujio and the others climbed to the top of the stone steps first. What appeared before their eyes was a lush green grassland with a few wild flowers. Especially when the sun shone on their bodies, it made them feel lazy. They just wanted to lie down and sleep. At this moment, in the Linghua sect's meeting hall, besides the few elders who were in seclusion, the elders of the Five Peaks and the Linghua sect's sect master, Xinyuan Changkong, were all watching the entrance test in front of the Ing stone. TSK, Old Man Chu, your question this time is really too insidious. Not to mention those little rookies, even the current disciples will feel extremely relaxed when they see this grassland after they are completely exhausted. A little old man with a goatee said with a beaming smile, "This is a good idea that I thought of for a few months before coming up with." Shan Yanghu. The test was their ability to react on the spot. Look at these little rookies, each and every one of them as stupid as pigs. Seeing them being tortured until they cried for their parents, this old man is very gratified. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched. This old man Chu was becoming more and more mischievous as he lived. Only Master Xinyuan pointed to a corner of the shadow stone and said, "Elder Qiyu, although your test design is very ingenious, it seems that this little girl has already guessed your intentions." Everyone followed the direction Master Xinyuan pointed and looked over. They saw two youths lying on the grass. After a black girl kicked them and said a few serious words, those people became vigilant and surrounded the little girl in the middle. Would Chapter 115 have a comeback? Elder Chu raised his beard and said unwillingly, "Ichi. The shadow stone can only see movement but not hear sound. Perhaps that black girl was just a blind cat that ran into a dead rat." At this moment, a disciple who was in charge of the test had already handed the situation of Yun Chujio and the others to Elder Chu. Elder Chu took a look. He could not help but laugh out loud. "I told you, how can others compare with such a smart brain of mine? Look, this straight to the clouds group is really too weak. And that black girl is a good-for-nothing who doesn't have any spiritual power. She must be afraid, so she got people to surround her in the middle." Everyone was stunned, and when they saw Yun Chujio and the others' information, they were also stunned. The highest level is only at the 4th level of spirit enhancement? And there's a good-for-nothing who doesn't have any spiritual power? Then how did they climb up? Also, how did they get the qualification to take the test? The disciple in charge of the test had a slight twitch at the corner of his mouth. He told them what he knew. Everyone's gaze fell on an old man with a square face. This person was the Peak Master of Middle Peak, Yutsong, whom Yun Chujio met in the demonic beast forest. Peak Master Yu was stunned. He thought to himself, this Yun Chujio really dared to say it. She did not know what it meant to stop when things were good and to stop when things were good. She actually used a token to get 7 registration qualifications. She was really good at deceiving people. Peak Master Yu had the intention to tell the truth, but on one hand, she felt that Yun Chujio cared about her family and had good intentions. If she told the truth, they would be stripped of their test qualifications. On the other hand, if she told the truth, it was inevitable that she would be ridiculed by everyone. It seemed a little embarrassing. Thirdly, that old fellow Sun Buozhong was quite fond of that black girl. This old fellow was currently in closed-door cultivation. If he were to come out and find out that I had revealed the truth, he would definitely explode. Peak Master Yu laughed dryly when he thought of this. There really is such a thing. When we first met Yun Chujio, that little girl, although she did not have any spiritual power, she was quick-witted and lively. Moreover, she had a tenacious character. Hence, She was moved by compassion and promised to give her 7 qualifications to register. Xiao Pancher from the West Peak frowned. He was the most principled and wanted to say a few words. However, when he thought of Bai Moyu and his sister, he could only swallow his words. He had clearly. If not for that disciple setting a precedent for the two of them, Yun Chujio would not have been able to rely on 1 registration token to obtain 7 registration qualifications. However, this Yun Chujio's personality carried a strong opportunism, and she was really unlikable. Thinking up to this point, Xiao Pancher said with a cold face, "There are only 6 of them. I reckon that one of them has already been eliminated. They should have failed the first round of the test." Just as Xiao Pancher finished speaking, the black girl stretched her neck and shouted something at the bottom of the stone steps. Then, a youth holding a treasured sword climbed up with full vigilance. Everyone exclaimed, "As expected." The black girl had indeed guessed Elder Chu's intention. She deliberately left a person behind to wait for them to be ready before letting the last person come up. If they guessed correctly, the last person should be Yun Chuzi, who had the highest spiritual power. This black girl is really smart. Elder Chu jumped his feet. Impossible. Impossible. She must have met a dead rat by chance. Everyone just smiled and ignored Elder Chu. They all turned their attention to the Clear Sky group. They didn't even pay attention to some of the stronger groups that they had previously thought highly of. After all, in this world, only a comeback was the most exciting. However, would the weakest Clear Sky group succeed in their comeback? Chapter 116. The Ironbone Bear continued to be crippled. Seeing that everyone was ignoring him, Elder Chu became even angrier. He raised his beard and shouted, "Itching! So what if I've guessed it? With just these 7 small dishes, they won't be able to pass this hurdle. Old Xiao, don't you think I'm right?" Xiao Pancher frowned and nodded. "That's right, not everything can be done by taking advantage of opportunities." The rest of the people did not argue with them. Their gazes were firmly locked onto the shadow stone. Just as Yun Chuzi leapt up, 3 iron bone bears suddenly appeared on the plains. Seeing Yun Chujio and the others, they immediately waved their huge claws and pounced forward. Elder Qiu said proudly, "Did you see that? 3 second-grade iron bone bears, even 7 4th-level spirit-enhanced cultivators would find it very difficult to deal with them, not to mention these 7 little vegetables. That black girl might directly faint from fright." Although Elder Chu said so, his small eyes were staring fixedly at the shadow stone. At the beginning, although the Clear Sky group had been prepared, they were still slightly flustered. Then, the black girl who was surrounded in the middle shouted something, and the 6 people on the periphery began to split up into 2 groups to deal with the 3 iron bone bears. Elder Chu curled his lips. They really overestimated themselves. They don't know if they have any brains. They actually let the strongest 2 deal with 1, and the other 4 must be smacked to death. Elder Chu's words came to an abrupt end because Yun Chuzi and Yun Chulu had killed the Ironbone Bear in a short while. Then, the 2 of them began to support the other 2 groups. Master Xinyuan and the other elders' expressions turned slightly stiff. Cough cough, this black lass was too despicable. She actually made them attack the Ironbone Bear's anus. However, this was also a method of surprise. The most vulnerable part of the Ironbone Bear's body was only its eyes. The Ironbone Bear probably did not expect that someone would attack them there. It was careless and actually succeeded in 1 strike. "Hey, look, what is the black girl doing?" An elder shouted in surprise. Everyone looked and saw Yun Chujio squatting in front of the dead bear. She took out a small dagger from her satchel. As her body blocked everyone's line of sight, no one knew what she was doing. 15 minutes later, the other 2 Ironbone Bears were also killed by the Qingyun group. Yun Chujio followed the same pattern and took out a small dagger to fiddle with it for a while. "Humph! This is just a piece of cake. It won't be as simple as that later," Elder Chu said while cursing in his heart. "This black girl is actually worse than me." The 3 corpses of the Ironbone Bears on the grass suddenly disappeared. Then, another 3 Ironbone Bears pounced on Yun Chujio and the others while howling. The Qingyun team did the same thing. They still went against 1 Ironbone Bear in pairs. However, due to the decrease in stamina, It took much longer this time. When the first iron bone bear died, Yun Chujio squatted in front of the bear to take a look. Then she spread her short legs and ran far away. Ah, I told you that this black girl would be scared. Look, she must be so scared that she wants to run away alone. Elder Chu felt very proud that he had finally moved back to a city. Peak Master Yu frowned. This black girl had always cared about family. She shouldn't be so selfish, right? Master Xinyuan suddenly asked, Elder Chu, how do we pass this second round? Elder Chu raised his beard and said proudly, we have to fight for 10 rounds before we pass. Do you think that this group of small fries can survive 10 rounds? Even if they have some tricks, their stamina can't keep up. I reckon that if they can't survive the 4th round, they will be finished. Everyone couldn't help but nod their heads when they heard Elder Chu's words. Indeed, the strength of the Clear Sky group was still too weak. It would be very difficult for them to survive the 4th round. It seemed that a comeback wasn't an easy matter. The Clear Sky group could only stop at the 2nd round of the test. Chapter 117 Whack-Mole Stick. Just when everyone thought that the Qingyun group had lost all hope, they saw that the black girl stopped running and squatted in front of a bunch of wildflowers. She did not move for a long time and seemed to be in a daze. After a while, she ran to another group of wildflowers and continued to be in a daze. Everyone was puzzled. What was the black girl doing? Admiring the flowers? Wasn't this too much of a bad time? How big was her heart? The battle was raging over there. Where were you enjoying the flowers? The black girl shouted something at the 6 people over here. Then these people acted like cats playing with mice. It seemed like they were using up the strength of the iron bone bear, but more like they were stalling for time. Elder Chu curled his lips. Stupid! Don't tell me they think that they will pass this round of assessment when the time is up? They really look down on this elder's wisdom. Everyone felt that Elder Chu's words made sense. This time, the black girl had guessed wrongly. The black girl was still in a daze as she ran through the flowers. Then, she stood beside a bush of wildflowers, holding a small dagger, and shouted a few words at the 6 people. At this moment, the 2 iron bone bears were almost befuddled by the teasing. 2 of them ran towards the direction of the black girl, while the remaining 4 people ran in pairs, intentionally leading the iron bone bears to run towards the other 2 directions. Everyone in the meeting hall was a little confused. What was going on? What did the black girl want to do? Soon, the 4 people also stopped in their tracks. Then, the black girl shouted something, and the 4 people finally ended the lives of the 2 iron bone bears. Elder Chu, what do you think this black girl is doing? One of the elders asked in puzzlement. Elder Chu did not know why, but he had an ominous premonition in his heart. He said perfunctorily, she's just trying to be mysterious. Once they split up, she'll die even faster this time. Before Elder Chu finished speaking, everyone let out a wave of exclamations. Oh my God! This, how could this be? Ah, no wonder the black girl ran back and forth earlier. So there's a reason. This is really too unexpected. Interesting. Heavens, it can be like this? The black girl is really too sneaky. Elder Chu, this round of the test was ruined by the black girl. Ha! Elder Chu focused his eyes and almost fainted from anger. The second round of the test that I had racked my brains for was actually played by the black girl. This is simply too embarrassing. I saw that the Clear Sky group was divided into 3 groups, each group guarding a bush of wildflowers. After the iron bone bear's corpse disappeared, another iron bone bear appeared from the bush of wildflowers. Before the iron bone bear could react, the weapons of the Clear Sky group came slashing at it. One person specialized in piercing the eyes, while the other specialized in poking the anus. The pitiful iron bone bear lost most of its life before it could react. In the time it took for half an incense stick to burn, it had already killed an iron bone bear. After repeating this over and over again, it was likely that the technique had become more proficient and it did not even take half an incense stick's time. Impossible! How did the black lass know that the iron bone bear would appear from these 3 wildflowers? Elder Chu was so angry that he was hopping around. He felt that he had really lost a great deal of face this time. The members of the Clear Sky group were like whack-a-mole. Not to mention 10 rounds, even 20 rounds would not be a problem. It was really too easy, wasn't it? Everyone was also discussing animatedly. How did the black lass discover the location of the formation's eye? The wildflowers on the plains weren't just those few bushes. How did she find it all of a sudden? It's probably related to her previous actions. This old man is also very curious. I can only wait until the test is over to ask the black lass. Serene Peak Master saw that the Clear Sky group's performance wasn't bad and spoke with pride. Elder Chu felt that he had nowhere to put his old face. He said angrily, "So what if they pass 2 rounds? There's still a 3rd round. They definitely won't pass the 3rd round." Chapter 118, Elder Chu, what's the content of the 3rd round of the test? Everyone was very curious. The content of the entry test had always been kept strictly confidential. Even Master Xianyuan only knew some general information. Elder Chu raised his neck and said proudly, "I've spent a lot of effort in the 3rd round of the test. Not to mention those 7 small dishes, even the strongest groups would have to be skinned alive if they wanted to pass." The Qingyun team didn't know that they had become the focus of attention and were happily whack-a-mole. Yun Chulu, I didn't expect that this Tier 2 Ironbone Bear would be so vulnerable. It was killed by us in just a few hits. Yun Chuba, that's right. It's even weaker than the Windage Rabbit. Yun Chuki, is the brain of the person who designed the 2nd round of the test squeezed by a door? Why is the 2nd round of the test easier than the 1st round? Yun Chu, Little Geo is smart. Otherwise, we would have been tortured to death by these Ironbone Bears. Yun Chuzi, yes, Little Geo is indeed the biggest contributor. Ching Asai, Little Geo, you are too smart to be human. Yun Chugio. After 10 rounds, the scene changed. Yun Chugio and the others found themselves standing on a high platform, and there was an endless abyss below. Little Geo, what will the content of this round be? It feels so terrifying. Yun Chuki looked down. The bottom was bottomless, and it was terrifying to look at. Yun Chugio looked at the platform. It was about 50 to 600 feet in diameter, and there was an abyss below. Could it be? Yun Chugio frowned. This platform should be a PK platform. Fuck? What does fuck mean? Everyone looked at Yun Chugio in confusion. It means a competition stage. It means a competition stage. Yun Chugio stuck out her tongue. Yun Chuba cried out in shock. Competition stage? Heavens, our group is the weakest. Any random group can crush us to death. Then, won't we not be able to pass this round of the test? The other few people were also filled with worry. Indeed, the strength of any group was far higher than that of the Qingyun group. It would be extremely difficult to pass this round of the test. Yun Chugio glared at them. Difficult? Of course it's difficult. If it wasn't difficult, wouldn't everyone be able to enter the Ling Hua sect? You all must know that there are tigers on the mountain, yet you still choose to walk towards the Tiger Mountain. Don't you think that you'll be able to do yourself a favor if you don't risk your lives? All of you, beat them up with all your might. Do you hear me? Little Geo, what you said makes sense, but there's a huge difference in strength. Even if we go all out, we won't be able to beat them. Yun Chulu scratched his head. Listen to me, let's do it this way. Yun Chugio babbled on. The melon-eating elders in the meeting hall were all extremely curious. Sai, what's that black girl gesturing about? Elder Chu smiled smugly. Gesturing is useless. They can't win this round by relying on their little tricks. I've arranged for 2 groups to fight in this round. Which group do you think will encounter this group of small fries and not be given points? Ha! Elder Chu, then which group will meet the Clear Sky group? Serene Peak Master frowned. The Clear Sky group was worried. Let me see, it should be this all-conquering group. Look, they are about to finish the 2nd round of the test. Elder Chu pointed at an area on the Shadow Stone and said. Immediately, a disciple handed the information of that all-conquering group to Elder Chu. Elder Chu's mouth almost couldn't close when he saw it. Ha! This time, we can't go straight up to the Clear Sky group. This all-conquering group has 1 Spirit Enhanced 6th level, 2 5th level Spirit Enhanced 5th level, And 4 4th level spirit enhanced 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 6th level spirit enhanced 6th level spirit enhanced 4th 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 level spirit enhanced 6th level spirit enhanced 4th 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 level spirit enhanced 6th level spirit enhanced 4th 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 level spirit enhanced 4th. Chapter 119 was truly a disgrace when everyone heard Elder Chu's words. They felt that there was basically no suspense in this round of duels. The difference in strength was just too great. Even if the all-conquering group only sent out 3 people, they would still be able to completely defeat the Clear Sky group. Peak Master Yu sighed in his heart. The Clear Sky group was also quite unlucky. This all-conquering group's strength could be ranked in the top 10 of this test. They basically had no chance of winning. What is that black girl holding in her hand? Everyone came back to their senses and took a look. Sure enough, the black girl took out a few paper bags from her satchel and gave them to 3 of them. Then she began to talk and compare them. Could it be something like poison? An elder guessed. Poison pills are very expensive in the world. With their wealth, they simply can't afford it. If it's poison from the secular world, it basically won't pose a threat to the all-conquering group. Peak Master Yu shook his head. What could it be? This black girl is really unpredictable. Look, the 10th round of all-conquering is about to end. The melon-eating elders were all excited, their eyes fixed on Yun Chujio and the others. They more or less hoped that the Qingyun group could create a miracle. This boring cultivation career was rare and interesting. The group leader of the indestructible group was Lu Qinghua, who was at the 6th level of the spirit enhancement realm. He came from a medium cultivation clan. Due to his high talent and his superior family background, he was very conceited. The 6 people in the same group as him were also members of the Lu Shi clan. Their strength was not weak either, so they basically did not encounter any big trouble during the 2 rounds of the test. Soon, the 10th round of the Iron Bone Bear was eliminated. The 7 people were chatting and laughing. Team leader, this test of the Linghua faction isn't as difficult as the legends say. Lu Qinghua curled his lips. If you ask me, the Linghua faction is only SOSO. Even that bullshit straight to the Azure Cloud group can obtain the qualification to take the test. It's really getting worse by the day. Team leader, that so-called Azure Cloud group will probably be eliminated in the first round. It's not worth mentioning at all. While the few of them were discussing, the scene in front of them changed. Before Lu Qinghua and the others could react, they felt something fluttering towards them. Achoo! Achoo! What the hell is that? It's choking me. My eyes, it's burning me to death. Just as Lu Qinghua and the others were wailing, a few swords and wind blades slashed towards them. When the melon-eating L. This is the all-conquering group being beaten like a local rat. All-conquering has now become a miserable group. It's just a little trick. Only those at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm can fall for it. Those high-level ones can handle it. Although Elder Chu said so, he had to admit that this black girl was even more wicked than him. As Elder Chu expected, the 4 people at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm were caught unprepared. After they were injured by Yun Chu and the others, they were kicked off the platform by Yun Chujio. Lu Qinghua and the other three at the higher levels jumped to the side in a sorry state and looked at Yun Chujio and the others with tears in their eyes. Achoo! Achoo! You guys are too despicable. You actually hurt people secretly. And you even used pepper powder and pepper flour. Lu Qinghua said fiercely with tears in his eyes. Didn't we see that you guys had gone through so much during the test and wanted to give you some supplements? You guys really don't know how to appreciate the kindness of others. Yun Chujio hugged her small shoulders and her small feet trembled. No matter how she looked at it, she deserved a beating. Chapter 120 came up with another strange move. Stupid girl. Don't be so pleased with yourself. We didn't have a stable footing just now and were ambushed by you. Otherwise, your little tricks won't be able to do anything to us. Even if there are only the three of us left, it would still be as easy as flipping over our hands to deal with you. Lu Qinghua said through gritted teeth. Yun Chujio curled her lips. Stop bragging. Isn't the Ironbone Bear stronger than you guys? The two of us dealt with one, but didn't we still kill dozens of them? Moreover, I didn't even need to make a move. Hearing Yun Chu's words, Yun Chujio and the others couldn't help but feel a little guilty. Little Gio, the Ironbone Bear didn't know how to protect its anus. These people all knew that. Moreover, they couldn't beat the gophers now. They really couldn't beat them. Lu Qinghua and the other two were stunned at first, and then they laughed out loud. You're really not afraid of bragging. Go. Fourth brother, fifth sister, you guys deal with that fatty. Sixth brother, eighth brother, you guys deal with that skinny guy. Seventh sister, Qing Si, you two deal with this Sanjun. Yun Chujio waved her small claws and gave the order instantly. When Yun Chuzi and the others saw Yun Chujio leave the most powerful Lu Qinghua to Yun Chuki and Qing Si, they couldn't help but be stunned. Wasn't she asking for a beating? What are you waiting for? This is Tianjis horse race. Go. Yun Chujio said fiercely. Tianjis horse race? Yun Chuzi and the others didn't know what Yun Chujio meant, but they were used to listening to Yun Chujio's command, so they picked up their weapons and went straight to their respective opponents. Seventh sister, Qing Si, try to stall this triangle-eyed man. When the other side is finished, we will gang up on him. Yun Chujio whispered to Yun Chuki and Qing Si. In the meeting hall, the melon-eating elders were stretching their necks and staring at each other in confusion. Has the black girl gone mad? Is she going to commit suicide? Is it because she thinks that the situation is over and is trying to resist? TSK, although the Qingyun group is not very strong, these people look pretty good, especially that black girl. Although she doesn't have any spiritual power, she is really smart. I saw that her kicks just now were perfect in both strength and angle. I also noticed it. Look at her black and skinny figure. She can actually send a person flying more than 100 feet with one kick. She's borrowing Xiao Jin. This little girl is really smart. Elder Chu saw that these people went astray as they chatted. His face stiffened. It doesn't matter if she's smart or not. In any case, she won't be able to pass this round of the test. Everyone sighed. Not bad. Although there were only 3 people left in the all-conquering group, their strength was still higher than the Clear Sky group. The Clear Sky group basically had no chance of winning. Not necessarily. This lord thinks highly of the Clear Sky group. Master Xinyuan said with a faint smile. Everyone was puzzled, and Elder Chu curled his lips. Sect Master, are you sure you didn't say the opposite? Master Xinyuan laughed out loud. Elder Chu, of course I didn't say the opposite. The little girl's action seemed like a moth to the flame, but in reality, there was a profound meaning behind it. As long as the 2 weaker ones could really hold on until the other 2 groups won, then there would only be 1 person left in the all-conquering group. They definitely wouldn't be able to defeat the Clear Sky group. Only then did everyone come to a realization. The Sect Master was indeed the Sect Master. He was more insightful than them. Not bad. If that was the case, then the Clear Sky group's chances of winning would greatly increase. Elder Chu was stunned. He had to admit that that black girl was really crafty. However, he said, this is just a hypothesis. What if those 4 people can't beat the other 2? What if those 2 little girls can't hold on until rescue? Then the 7 little vegetables will be completely useless. Everyone felt that what Elder Chu said made sense. In the end, could the Qingyun group defeat the strong with the weak? Chapter 121. We won. Everyone stared at the shadow stone, only to see that both sides had already engaged in a chaotic battle. Only that little black girl stood by the side and did not stop for a single moment, babbling and babbling. No one knew what she was saying. Yun Chujio had already calculated in her heart. Although she could release her spirit energy, the gigolo had said that she could release her spirit energy before she reached the 4th level of spirit enhancement, so she could not reveal it as a last resort. If she really could not do it, she would strike them again. No matter what, she had to enter the Spirit Flower sect. Hey, Triangle Eyes, our group is called Sanjiaoyan. What's the name of your group? Since she couldn't use her spiritual power, then she would use a little trick. Lu Qinghua was so angry that he gnashed his teeth. My name is Lu Qinghua, not Sanjiaoyan. Our group is called Invincible. I didn't ask what your name is. Why are you so busy reporting your name? You are so shameless. All-conquering? I think you are the pathetic group. Yun Chujio put her hands on her waist and jumped around to scold him. Lu Qinghua was so angry that his face turned green. Stupid girl, don't be so proud. After I take care of these 2, I will teach you a lesson. Yun Chujio bared her little white teeth at him. La la la, bite me if you have the ability. Sanjiaoyan. Pathetic group. You are dead. Lu Qinghua was so angry that he actually jumped to the side. He got rid of Yun Chuki and Qing Si and went straight to Yun Chujio. Stupid girl, I told you to spout nonsense. I'll kill you first. I'm so scared. Don't kill me. Yun Chujio screamed and ran away. Lu Qinghua was so angry that he was dizzy. He didn't care about Yun Chuki and Qing Si who were chasing him with swords. He just threw a few wind blades at Yun Chujio. Oh my god, you scared me to death. Are you going to pierce my heart with thousands of arrows? You triangle-eyed man, you are too vicious. Yun Chujio dodged left and right. It seemed like a close call, but none of the wind blades touched Yun Chujio. Lu Qinghua was about to throw another wind blade at Yun Chujio when Yun Chuki's sword came at him. He had to deal with Yun Chuki and Qing Si who were chasing after him. When Yun Chuki and Qing Si were about to give up, Yun Chujio would jump over and provoke them with her words. However, the arrogant Lu Qinghua could not take it and would definitely go after Yun Chujio again. Therefore, even though Lu Qinghua was much stronger than Yun Chuki, an hour had passed and he still could not get Yun Chuki, Qing Si, and Yun Chujio off the stage. Yun Chujio shouted at Yun Chuzi and the others, "Hey, 4th brother, you guys have to work harder. The secret medicine that you guys took before us. Do you guys feel like your bodies are filled with power? Their miserable group is about to be finished. Kill them and we can enter the Linghua sect. Think about our clansmen, they're all waiting for our good news." Yun Chuzi and Yun Chu combined were already slightly stronger than the fatty. Now that Yun Chujio shouted, she suddenly felt her spirit shake, as if her entire body was filled with strength. The 2 of them attacked consecutively. The fatty was flustered for a moment and actually lost his footing and fell off the stage. Yun Chuzi and Yun Chu wanted to come over and help, but Yun Chujio quickly shouted, "Don't worry about us first. Finish off that thin man first, then we'll gang up on this Sanjiaoyan." When that skinny guy saw that fatty had fallen, he immediately became a little timid. In addition, the Qingyun team members became more and more courageous as they fought. It was as if they were on steroids and soon, they were also kicked under the stage. When Lu Qinghua saw that fatty and skinny guy lost one after another, he immediately panicked. It was true that he was at level 6 of the spirit enhancement, but a good tiger could not withstand a pack of wolves. It was over. The situation was over. Lu Qinghua held on for a short while and jumped off the high platform. He would definitely lose anyway, so it was better to suffer less. Little Jio, we won. Little Jio, we can really enter the Linghua faction. Little Jio, we didn't embarrass the Yun family. The members of the Qingyun group were so excited that tears streamed down their faces. Yes, from the beginning when they did not have any hope, all the way until now, Although they were the weakest and no one thought highly of them, they had won. They had relied on perseverance and hard work, and they had won. Chapter 122 had a sudden change. The meeting room was also filled with cheers. Ha! The Clear Sky Group won. This battle is too exciting. It's really a good example of the weak defeating the strong. Yeah. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. A 4th level spirit enhancement, 2 3rd level spirit enhancement, 3 2nd level spirit enhancement, and a group without spirit energy actually passed 3 rounds of tests. Yeah, the one who contributed the most was that black girl. Smart, she's really too smart. That's right. It's a pity that this black girl doesn't have spirit energy. Otherwise, her future would definitely be boundless. That's right, Peak Master Yu. Why doesn't this little girl have spirit energy? It said that she couldn't absorb spirit energy since she was young. It's indeed a pity. Although Yu Feng said so, he was very happy in his heart. No matter what, even if the Clear Sky Group couldn't enter the outer sect, they could at least become odd jobs. Everyone was chatting and laughing. Only Elder Chu and Elder Shao remained silent. Elder Chu's face was a little embarrassed. He had already said so much, but he didn't expect that the 7 noobs would actually pass 3 rounds of the test. On the other hand, Elder Shao didn't like Yun Chujia's style of doing things. He thought that this person was too opportunistic and not practical enough. However, the two of them had very high statuses, so they didn't really go to the extent of making things difficult for a few juniors. I'm looking forward to the next individual test. I wonder if these 7 people will be able to enter the outer sect. An elder said excitedly. Only the 300 people with the best results in the individual test will be able to enter the outer sect. It's basically impossible for the 7 of them to enter. Oh right, Elder Chu, what's the content of the individual test? Elder Chu was in a bad mood and said in a muffled voice, "First, we have to climb the 10,000 stone steps at the back of the mountain. Then we have to take the mental illusion test." Everyone could not help but grin. This old man Chu was really ruthless. These people who participated in the test had just entered the 3rd round of the test and were already exhausted. Even if they could climb the 10,000 stone steps and enter the illusion test, their minds would definitely be relaxed and it would be very difficult to pass. Everyone's gaze once again focused on the shadow stone. Most of them were still paying attention to the 7 members of the Qingyun group. The scene in front of Yun Chujio and the others had already changed from the high platform to the foot of a mountain. The voice of the test disciple came from the test board. Congratulations to the Clear Sky Group for passing 3 rounds of the group test. For the 4th round of the individual test, the first 300 people to climb up the steps to the top of the mountain will enter the outer sect. Yun Chulu and the others looked at the endless stone steps and wailed, "Oh my god, this looks like there are even more stone steps than the first round of the test. I can't even lift my legs." Yun Chujio glared at them. "There's no such thing as impossible, only not working hard. If you can't catch up to me, you can call me Big Sister from now on." After saying that, Yun Chujio opened her legs and ran up the stone steps. Yun Chulu and the others looked at each other. Little Jio was the youngest, and she didn't have any spiritual power. Could it be that they didn't have little Jio's perseverance? Yun Chujio deliberately slowed down so that Yun Chulu and the others couldn't catch up, but she also didn't leave too far behind. In the meeting hall, everyone was discussing again. "I didn't expect that black girl's stamina to be so good. I think she's very relaxed. It doesn't make sense. How can a little girl without spiritual power have such good stamina? It's really strange." The other 6 people are also commendable for their perseverance. They are completely relying on their mental fortitude to hold on. And they are indeed not bad. They have already climbed more than half of the way up. If they hold on a little longer, they might very well make it into the top 100. This is really unbelievable. Just when everyone was full of confidence in the Qingyun group, a sudden change occurred. The sky suddenly darkened, and a large patch of thick and heavy Wu Yun quickly gathered in the sky. Chapter 123 was a big deal. Yun Chujio had a bad premonition the moment Wu Yun gathered. Oh my god, could it be that lightning was going to strike her? Normally, she would be very happy and would be eager to be struck by lightning. But now was not the time. Damn lightning, if you didn't come early or late, why did you come to join in the fun? If it was an ordinary silver lightning, it would be better. But if it was a purple lightning tribulation, it would definitely implicate the people around them. What should they do? Yun Chujio weighed the pros and cons and said to Yun Chuzi and the others, "You guys climb for a while first. They'll rest for a while." Yun Chulu said with a cheeky smile, "Little Jio, we don't have any strength left. Can we rest for a while too?" Yun Chujia's small face stiffened. "No, I can still run now. Can you guys do it? Hurry up and climb." Yun Chulu laughed dryly and scratched his head. He could only reluctantly follow Yun Chuzi and the others to climb up. Just as Yun Chulu and the others climbed more than 1,000 feet away, a few silver lightning bolts struck down from the sky. Yun Chujio let out a long breath. Fortunately, it was silver and not purple. At this moment, the meeting hall was filled with exclamations. The image on the shadow stone began to blur and eventually turned into ripples. Oh no! The heavenly lightning must have destroyed the formation's eye. This old man will go and check it out. Elder Chu frowned and quickly left to check. Yun Chujio had just let out a sigh of relief. Just as she was about to chase after Yun Chuzi and the others, a purple lightning struck down towards Yun Chujio. Damn it, she knew it wouldn't be that simple. Yun Chujio was afraid of attracting the attention of others and also afraid of implicating others, so she hurriedly left the stone steps and went into the forest next to her. The purple lightning bolt also followed her into the forest in a crooked manner. It seemed like it wouldn't stop until it struck Yun Chujio. Finally, Yun Chujio found a small empty space. With her hands on her waist, she pointed at the little lightning bolt that was chasing after her and jumped around while cursing. "Fuck. You little purple loach, you didn't come early or late. You actually came to strike me at this time. They'll give you 10,000 bad reviews. You damn little loach. Come on. Strike me. I can't wait for it." The little purple lightning paused for a moment, as if it was in a difficult position. Then, it aimed at Yun Chujio. Well, to be precise, it was aimed at Yun Chujio's small satchel. What? Yun Chujio was dumbfounded. So it wasn't aimed at her? It was aimed at Xiao Hanyo? Before Yun Chujio could react, several more purple lightning bolts came down from the sky. They were exactly the same as the previous. They paused for a moment, then some went to Yun Chujio and some went to the satchel. These finger-sized lightning bolts were like tickles to Yun Chujio now. They were not satisfying at all. As Yun Chujio was disturbed by the test, she was extremely angry. She pointed at Wu Yun in the sky and cursed, "Too weak. Have you not eaten? If you have the ability, hit me harder. Don't make me look down on you." The purple lightning bolts in Wu Yun were instantly enraged. Too much. Too much. Too much. If they didn't chop this black girl to death, they wouldn't be able to survive in the lightning world. Thus, the purple lightning bolts gathered together and a lightning bolt as thick as an adult's arm struck fiercely at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio looked at the huge lightning bolt coming at her and 3 words flashed across her mind: "I've played too big." Wu Yun in the sky saw the deep pit that was emitting black smoke on the ground and floated away in satisfaction. Done. The 2 scourges were finally eliminated. Chapter 124. The miserable Yun Chujio. The other 6 members of the Qingyun team climbed for a while. When they saw that Yun Chujio did not follow them and heard the deafening thunder, they immediately panicked and rushed back to look for Yun Chujio. Coincidentally, they met Bai Moyu and the others who were climbing up. Yun Chuzi and the others were very surprised to see Yun Chushan and the others. She did not expect them to pass 3 rounds of the test. She pretended to be pleasantly surprised. "Chuzi, that's great. You guys passed the first 3 rounds of the test too. Why didn't you climb up but went down instead?" "Third sister, did you see little Jio on the way here?" Yun Chuzi quickly asked Yun Chushan. "No. But did little Jio disappear?" Yun Chushan showed a worried expression, but she was actually very happy in her heart. She deserved it. It would be better if Yun Chujio was dead. Yun Chuzi had no time to care about Yun Chu's question. He acknowledged and brought Yun Chu and the others down the mountain. Yun Chushan shouted from behind, "Hey! If you go down, there's a high possibility that you won't be able to enter the outer sect. Why don't you go look for little Gio after you complete the test? The treatment in the outer sect is 100 times better than that of a handyman." Yun Chuzi and the others stopped in their tracks. Yun Chuzi turned around and gave Yun Chushan a deep look. "In our opinion, little Gio's safety is more important than anything else." Yun Chuzi's face stiffened and said embarrassedly, "If you don't know how to appreciate a good person's kindness, then do as you please." Yun Chuzi took a few steps forward and said to Ching Si, "Let's go look for little Gio. You continue to climb up." Ching Si was stunned. Ching Si, am not the kind of person who doesn't have a sense of loyalty. At worst, I'll just become a servant. Fourth brother, stop wasting time. It's more important to look for little Gio. Seeing Ching Si's resolute attitude, Yun Chuzi did not say anything more. In his heart, he had a trace of approval for this little sister who came later. Yun Chuzi and the others arrived at the place where Yun Chujio was resting and found Yun Chujio's footprints. They searched along the footprints and finally found the deep pit that was still emitting billowing black smoke. Little Gio's footprints disappeared when they came here. Could it be? Yun Chuzi couldn't continue. He didn't dare to say or think about the tragedy that might happen. Little Gio, where are you?" Yun Chu cried out loudly with her crying voice. Yun Chuki and the others also shouted at the top of their lungs. They really didn't want to believe the fact that little Gio had been struck by lightning. They could only shout with a glimmer of hope. Cough, cough, cough. Yun Chujio's weak voice came from the pit. Everyone quickly gathered around the pit. "Little Gio, are you okay?" Cough, cough, cough. "I'm fine, it's just that the smoke is too strong, and I've changed into a shiny new hairstyle. Hurry up and get a rope to hang down and pull me up." Rope? Yun Chu and the others looked at each other. There was no rope on them either. Fortunately, Ching Si was quick-witted. She saw that there were vines next to her, so she cut a few vines and tied them together, hanging down the deep pit. Everyone exerted their strength together, and without much effort, they pulled a black thing up. At this moment, Yun Chujio was in a terrible state. Her body was covered in scorched earth. Other than a pair of eyes that were as red as a rabbit's, no one could see her facial features. By the way, the most shiny thing was the shiny bald head. There was a drooping black crow on the bald head. Its green bean-like eyes were also filled with tears from the smoke. When everyone saw Yun Chujio's miserable state, they felt like laughing out loud. Yun Chulu could not help but laugh out loud. Yun Chujio glared at him. "Sixth brother, take off your coat and give it to me." Chapter 125 was scamming you. Yun Chulu laughed as he took off his coat. Yun Chujio put it on randomly. This guy was very smart. His coat had already turned into ashes. Fortunately, he was wearing the clothes that he had taken from the gigolo. It was obvious that this coat was a treasure. He was fine even after being hacked a few times. He didn't want to be remembered by others. Yun Chujio had just put on her outer clothes when she heard someone shout, "Hey, why did you 7 little vegetables come here instead of taking the test?" Everyone turned around and saw an old man wearing the Linghua sect's uniform walk in. The old man was Elder Chu. After he repaired the array core, he rushed over when he saw black smoke rising from here. "Hey, black girl, what happened to you? Did you get struck by lightning? Haha, did you get your retribution?" Elder Chu looked at the dark Yun Chujio and couldn't even straighten his back from laughing. Cough, cough. How should I address this elder? Yun Chujio wished she could kick this old thing a few times. However, she glanced at Elder Chu's clothes and suppressed the primal energy in her body. This old man wore the same clothes as Elder's son and the others. It seemed that he was also an elder, so it was better not to offend him. "Chu Bewley, black girl. You haven't answered my question yet. Why you here? And what's with your appearance?" Elder Chu also felt that he had lost his composure, so he held back his laughter and said, "So you're Elder Chu? I've always heard that Elder Chu of the Linghua sect has superb spiritual power and is wise and open-minded. Seeing you today, it's as I expected." Yun Chujio's red eyes burst out with strong admiration. Elder Chu had never thought that the words coming out of this black girl's mouth would be so pleasant to hear and so beneficial. He immediately straightened his back and said, "Don't spout nonsense. It's all thanks to everyone. You can't count it." Yun Chujio was an ancestor who could read people's words and expressions. Seeing Elder Chu's physical behavior, she knew that this old thing was pretentious and liked to listen to flattery the most. She immediately felt confident. "Elder Chu, how can you say that? Who doesn't know that Elder Chu Bu Li of the Linghua sect is resourceful and has both wisdom and courage? He is a well-known figure in the Qing Xian continent. When I was in Yi City, I admired you very much. I didn't expect to finally meet you today. Please give me an autograph. In the future, I will use this autograph of yours as my motto." Yun Chujio said as she tore a corner of her robe and raised her hands above her head respectfully. The other members of the Qingyun team were simply stunned. "Oh my God! Little Jiao, you're too good at making things up. When have you ever heard of a song that never leaves SI? And you even used your signature as your motto? Can you be any more shameless?" Elder Chu, on the other hand, fell for this trick. The little grudge he had against Yun Chujio from before instantly vanished into thin air. This black girl good. Very good. Very good. The Linghua sect lacked such a good disciple who dared to speak the truth and make progress. Elder Chu immediately took out a brush and ink from his storage ring and signed his name on the cloth. "Black girl good, you're very good. Even though you won't be able to enter the outer sect, you can still make a name for yourself as a handyman. Work hard. I have high hopes for you. Elder Chu, don't worry, you'll definitely do my job well. You'll be conscientious, hardworking, and diligent. I won't let you lose face." Yun Chujio straightened her small body, and her attitude was as upright as possible. Good. Alright, how did you come here? What's with this pit?" Elder Chu, who was in a daze from being tricked, finally remembered the important matter. Chapter 126 Must be a coincidence. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. With an innocent look on her face, she said, "Elder Chu, I was resting on the steps when I saw several bolts of lightning striking downwards. I ran into the forest in fear, but I didn't expect to be struck by a bolt of lightning. After that, I didn't know anything." Yun Chuzi and the others also proved, "That's right, Elder Chu. We found that Xiao Hanio was missing, so we quickly came to find her and pulled her out of the pit." Elder Chu looked at the vines still hanging at the entrance of the deep pit, then looked at Yun Chujio's bald head, and then fixed his gaze on the little black bird on the top of Yun Chujio's head, which was drooping. "Fire-spitting crow? Black girl, is this fire-spitting crow your spiritual pet?" Yun Chujio held the short wings of the fire-spitting crow in disgust. "Yes, I found it in the demon beast forest. Elder Sun said that the fire-spitting crow had a gentle temperament, so he let me keep it." Xiao Hanio cooperatively called out a few times. Elder Chu nodded. "And this bird is quite compatible with you. They're both small fries." Xiao Hanio's eyes widened. "Fuck, you're the small fry. You'll fall to your death." Pa Ji, Elder Chu's left foot tripped over his right foot, and he fell like a dog gnawing on mud. Elder Chu was stunned from the fall. As a dignified elder of the Linghua sect, he actually tripped himself? If this were to be known, it would be a laughing death. His old face flushed red, and before Yun Chujio and the others could react, he hurriedly jumped up and disappeared with a whoosh. Xiao Hanio saw that Elder Chu had disappeared, and only then did he land on the ground, rolling on the ground with laughter. "Ah, damn it. You stinky old man, you actually called me a noob. You're even noob. Why didn't you fall to your death?" "Ah, I didn't think that I would casually say something and he would fall. This mouth of mine is simply..." Xiao Hanio thought of something and quickly used its short wings to cover its mouth. "Oh God, could it be that I really jinxed it? Impossible. I have nothing to do with that unlucky low-level bird. It must be a coincidence." Yes, this was completely a coincidence. Yun Chujio couldn't be bothered with it. The test wasn't over yet. Although she couldn't enter the outer sect, it was still pretty good to be able to enter the Spirit Flower sect and become a handyman. It was better to go and see what arrangements were made first. "Fifth sister, seventh sister, give me your handkerchief. It'll wrap my head." Yun Chujio took the handkerchief and rubbed the charcoal ash on her face first. Then, she wrapped the handkerchief around her head. She even purposely left 2 small tails behind. Little Gio, you seem to be WH. Little Gio, this is a blessing in disguise. You are really whiter than before. Also, the handkerchief you made on your head is quite unique. Yun Chujio raised her neck proudly and put her hands behind her back. Of course. I, Yun Chujio, will definitely be a great beauty in the future. In the past, I just hid my strength and bided my time. Everyone's faces froze. This guy really couldn't help but praise him. Just a little sunshine would make him shine. Brothers, sisters, I'm sorry. If it weren't for me, you would have been able to enter the outer gate. Yun Chujio felt warm in her heart when she saw that everyone had given up on the test to find her. Little Gio, what nonsense are you talking about? Don't say that we relied on you to pass the previous test. Just because you are our sister, we can't ignore you. Don't say such things in the future. Yun Chuzi said with a straight face. Yun Chujio nodded, but her nose was a little sour. Was this family love? There were no conditions. Just because we were family, we could protect each other, be warm to each other, and never abandon each other in life and death. Chapter 127. Don't believe in evil. Yun Chujio and the others left the forest. As they stood on the stone steps and looked around blankly, a white light flashed in front of their eyes. They had already been transported to a square. The ground of the square was paved with large pieces of bluestone slabs. There were some inconspicuous patterns on them, making them look extremely ancient and solemn. There were already many people gathered in the square. Coincidentally, Bai Moyu and the others were standing next to Yun Chujio and the others. Yun Chushan saw that Yun Chujio was still alive and was very disappointed. However, when she thought about how she would be an outer sect disciple in the future while Yun Chujio and the others could only be low-level laborers, her heart immediately felt at ease. Bai Moru and Bai Moru were naturally very happy. Yun Chujio and the others were only laborers and their treatment in the future was far worse than theirs. They might even be able to enter the inner sect after the trial in a year's time. As for them, just be servants for the rest of their lives. No matter how much that elder son liked Yun Chujio, it was useless for Yun Chujio to not be able to cultivate. Sooner or later, elder son would give up on her. Moreover, this was still not the disciple recruitment ceremony, so there was no guarantee of what would happen. The disciple in charge of the entrance test said a few words of courtesy, and then sent people to bring the outer sect disciples and servants to the corresponding areas to be settled. The Linghua sect was situated on Mount Linghua, and the higher one went, the denser the spiritual energy became. Mount Linghua had 6 peaks, and they were respectively the East Peak, West Peak, South Peak, North Peak, Middle Peak, and Main Peak. The odd job areas on each peak were all below the mountainside, and the spiritual energy was the thinnest. The disciple leading the team randomly assigned these new odd job workers to their respective regions. Even though it was random, there was a reason for it. Some odd job workers with acquaintances or backgrounds were assigned to lighter positions, such as the alchemy division. Being an alchemist's attendant was not only easy, but one could also learn some alchemy knowledge. The herb planting department was also not bad. As long as the task was completed by the day, it would be fine. Usually, there was no one supervising it, so one could have a lot of time to go to the outer sect's cultivation hall to attend classes. The servants in the miscellaneous department were also not bad. They were all running errands and temporary workers. They could both slack off and get to know some useful people. Although the spirit beast department was a little dirty, those who had spirit beasts were mostly inner sect disc. This was a good opportunity to reach the sky in one step, so it was also a place to fight over. The most unpopular place, and also the place that everyone didn't want to go, was the big kitchen. Not only was the big kitchen greasy, but it was also the most tiring. There was no time to cultivate at all. Moreover, in order to prevent the pollution of the spiritual energy, the big kitchen on every mountain peak was built under the ground. It was also the place where the spiritual energy was the thinnest. Because the people in the big kitchen were basically rookies with no background, among the few departments of the handyman's office, The big kitchen was the most unpopular and the department that was always bullied. The disciple in charge of the distribution department was called Qi Sheng. He glanced at Yun Chujio and the others with his eyes and curled his lips. The few of you, go to the big kitchen in the middle peak. Yun Chujio did not know the twists and turns inside. As soon as she heard that they were going to the big kitchen, her heart immediately bloomed with joy. The big kitchen was great. At the very least, she would not have to worry about the delicious food in the future. Yun Chuzi and the others were also very happy. As long as they entered the Linghua sect, it would be fine. Which department was different? Some servants who knew the inside story cast pitying gazes at Yun Chujio and the others. These 7 people could be considered useless. Yun Chujio was very shrewd. When she saw their gazes, her heart moved slightly. Could it be that the big kitchen was not a good place to go? Yun Chujio will not believe it. Even if it is a bad place, once Yun Chujio, go, it will be a top-notch good place to go. What's more, it's in the middle peak. It's simply too good. Chapter 128 was still white after Qi Sheng announced the distribution of personnel. He continued, now line up and use your test cards to receive the entry-level materials. Then, stand in line according to the peaks. There will be someone to take you to the appropriate places. The entry-level materials included 2 sets of handyman service, a low-grade storage bag, an identity jade token, a copy of the Linghua sect's rules, and a copy of the Linghua sect's entry-level cultivation method, the Linghua technique. Most of the handymen immediately opened their storage bags and placed their items inside. Among the members of the Qingyun team, only Yun Chuzi was able to release his spirit energy, so the members of the Qingyun team placed their items inside Yun Chuzi's storage bag. Seeing them like this, the handymen couldn't help but have contemptuous looks on their faces. The spirit energy of the members of the Qingyun team was too low. They must have gone through dog shit and luck to pass the test. Now that they had been assigned to the big kitchen on the middle peak, they could no longer turn things around. The big kitchen was the worst department to begin with, and the big kitchen on the middle peak was the best among the big kitchens on the 6 peaks. They were often bullied, and these 7 people were considered useless. Yun Chujio and the other servants of the middle peak followed an outer sect disciple named Lin Peng out of the square and rushed to the middle peak. The Linghua sect was really too big. These odd job workers walked for nearly 2 hours before they reached the middle peak. It was unknown if Lin Peng did it on purpose. The big kitchen was originally at the foot of the mountain, but he just had to take Yun Chujio and the others around a big circle. Only after he had finished arranging the other odd job workers did he bring Yun Chujio and the others to the big kitchen. Old Huang, there's a new person here. Come over and take over. Lin Peng's attitude was very arrogant, and he was just short of pointing his nose at the sky. He's here. There's finally a new person here. I'm really short of manpower here. A fat old man ran out. Lin Peng snorted contemptuously. Old Huang, I've given you quite a lot of people. If you can't keep them, it's not our handyman's fault. The fat old man smiled and said, That's right. It's because our Middle Peak's big kitchen doesn't have the ability. It can't be blamed on others. Lin Peng pursed his lips, took out the token and handed it over to the fat old man, then left. The fat old man sized up Yun Chujio and the others, then shouted at the big kitchen, Mei Li, Ho Tian, Bei Yuan, come out and pick people. 3PO. The fat old man smiled and said, My surname is Huang. You can call me Steward Huang or Old Huang. I'm the chief steward of Zhongfeng Kitchen and also the kitchen steward. The fat old man introduced the 3 people in turn. The big man was called Mei Li, the chopping board steward, who was in charge of cutting vegetables. The skinny man was called Ho Tian, the water table steward, who was in charge of picking vegetables and washing vegetables. The pale-faced middle-aged man, Bei Yuan, was the stove steward. He was also in charge of cooking. Right, besides the 3 of them, there's also Lan Xiaohua, who is in charge of the case, and Ding Jun, who is in charge of purchasing ingredients. I have something to do today, so I'll introduce you to him tomorrow. All right, the 3 of you can choose your people. Mei Li pointed at Yun Chulu and Yun Chuba and said in a muffled voice, My job requires a strong body. The 2 of you can follow me. Ho Tian pointed at Yun Chu, Yun Chuki, and Ching Isai and said, "The three of you can follow me. It's easier to pick and wash vegetables." Bei Yuan pointed at Yun Chuzi and said, "You can follow me." Finally, Elder Huang looked at Yun Chujio and said, "Little girl, then you can follow me to light the fire. After all, even if you're black, you're not afraid of smoke." Yun Chujio only wanted to shout at Elder Huang, "I'm white." Chapter 129 Roasting a rabbit would be punished. The few of you go to the dormitory to settle down first. You will officially start work tomorrow. Our big kitchen was made of iron and water, so this dormitory was the richest. The 3 rows at the back were all dormitories. Those who had activated the array in the courtyard had already been occupied. You can choose any of the remaining rooms. Old Huang pointed to the room at the back of the big kitchen and said, Yun Chujio and the others thanked him. Then, they passed through a bluestone road and came to the backyard of the kitchen. The kitchen was close to the back of the mountain. Although the spiritual energy was far inferior to the spiritual energy above, to Yun Chujio and the others, this place was like heaven. The spiritual energy here was much richer than the spiritual energy in Yi City. It was simply much stronger. 7 people were selected. In the end, they chose the 7 small courtyards in the 3rd row. Only Yun Chuzi had activated the array formation in the courtyard. The other 6 people were unable to activate the array formation in the courtyard because they could not release their spiritual energy. However, they did not have anything valuable, so they were not afraid of people stealing. After she had tidied up, it was already dark. Yun Chujio thought of a very important question. They had not eaten dinner yet. They had been hungry for a whole day. Therefore, this guy stretched his neck and shouted, "Brothers, sisters, let's go and eat." Yun Chuzi and the others were also hungry. Therefore, the 7 of them came to the big kitchen in a mighty manner. Then, they realized that the big kitchen had already activated the array formation. Apparently, it had been closed. Why does this big kitchen have an array formation to protect it? Can someone steal things? Yun Chulu asked in confusion. Maybe there really was such a thing in the past, so they created an array formation. After all, the ingredients here are all spirit vegetables and spirit rice. They are also very valuable outside. Yun Chuzi thought for a moment and said, "Then what should we do? We didn't bring any dry rations." This is bad. When we entered the Linghua sect, those few horses are still in foster care at the inn. What a waste. Yun Chuki stomped her feet. What a miscalculation. 7th sister, can you be a little more promising? It's just a few horses. When I'm rich in the future, I'll get you a spirit beast to ride on. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Yun Chuki glared at her. Let's not talk about riding spirit beasts. If you can fill our stomachs now, I'll be thankful to the heavens. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. What's so difficult about that? As the saying goes, one depends on the mountain to eat the mountain, and another depends on the water to eat the water. Behind us is the back mountain. I don't believe that we can't find food. Let's go. Let's go hunting. Xiaojiu, is hunting allowed in the back of the mountain? Will we be punished? Yun Chu asked worriedly. What's not allowed? It's not a spiritual beast. Aren't you guys hungry? Listen to me, that's right. At this moment, Yun Chujio did not care about the stupid sect rules. It was more proper to fill her stomach. They bypassed the dormitory area and went straight into the back of the mountain. Xiaohei, the task of finding the prey is up to you. If we can't find the prey, we'll have to go hungry. Xiao Hanyo was so hungry that his heart was stuck to his back. Naturally, he worked hard and soon found a few windblade rabbits. The group caught these few fat rabbits without much effort. The group skillfully lit a fire and began to roast the rabbits. Looking at the oily roasted rabbits, the group could not stop swallowing their saliva. They did not care about the burning of their mouths and began to devour the food. While the group was enjoying their meal, Yun Chujio frowned. Someone was here? How dare you? How dare you defy the rules of the sect and roast the meat here? Tie these people up and bring them back to the law enforcement hall. A gloomy voice said. Chapter 130 was about to beat you up. Yunchuzi and the others were shocked and stood up in panic. Only Yunchujio was still squatting on the ground, slowly chewing on the rabbit leg. The little black bird next to her was also eating without raising its head. Yunchujio, you are still eating. You are really lawless. Someone kicked over the grill and the roasted rabbit fell to the ground. The person even stepped on the roasted rabbit. Yunchujia's eyes flashed. She looked up and saw 3 people standing in front of her. The person in the lead was a middle-aged man with triangular eyes. Yunchujio felt that he looked familiar, but she couldn't remember where she had seen this person before. The person in the lead was a middle-aged man with triangular eyes, and he looked like he was from Sanjiaoyan. What are you looking at? You, a trash without spiritual power, can enter the Linghua sect like smoke rising from your ancestors' graves. You actually dare to come to the back of the mountain and light a fire to roast meat. You don't know what's good for you. The man saw that Yunchujio was still squatting on the ground. He raised his leg and kicked at Yunchujio. Little Jio. Yunchuzi and the others cried out in shock. It was already too late to stop her. A trace of sternness flashed across Yunchujia's eyes. She lightly jumped to the side, and the rabbit leg in her hand, which she had yet to finish eating, landed on the man's face. The man did not expect that Yunchujio would actually dare to resist. He was momentarily careless and was hit by the rabbit leg. Although Yunchujio was thin, her strength was not small, and the man's face instantly swelled up. The man was stunned at first, then his triangular eyes stood up. But, Yunchujio, you are rebelling. You openly attacked a law enforcement disciple. Yunchujio, just wait to be expelled from the Linghua faction. Take her away. Yunchujio snorted coldly. Wait, I was scared by you just now, so I let go of the rabbit's leg. It was just your bad luck that it hit you. What does it have to do with me? Also, what right do you have to say that we violated the sect rules? Which sect rule says that you are not allowed to eat roasted rabbit? Besides, you said that you are disciples of the law enforcement hall, so you are? What proof do you have? The triangular-eyed man's expression was ferocious. Although the sect rule does not say that you are not allowed to eat roasted rabbit, open fire is prohibited on the back mountain, so you are openly violating the sect rules. This is our law enforcement token. Open your dog eyes and look. Yunchujio took the token that the man threw over and took a look. It was indeed a law enforcement token, but it was only the law enforcement hall of the Western Peak. Why did you come to the Middle Peak? Humph. The law enforcement hall of the 6 peaks has always taken turns to enforce the law in the Linghua sect. Yunchujio, stop quibbling. Take them away. A fierce look flashed across the triangular-eyed man's eyes. Take them back and entertain them properly first. In any case, they would definitely be expelled from the Linghua sect the next day. The 2 men behind Sanjiaoyan saw this and were about to go forward and tie up Yunchujio and the others when Yunchujio jumped up and gave Sanjiaoyan 2 tight slaps on the face. Then she gave Sanjiaoyan a fierce kick in the stomach. This place was originally a gentle slope. The man directly rolled out 100 feet away. Whether it was Yunchuzi and the others or the people brought by Sanjiaoyan, they were all dumbfounded. No one would have thought that Yunchujio would start beating him up at the slightest disagreement. Sanjiaoyan's fall was not light, but it was only a few superficial injuries. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Good. Yunchujio, you actually beat up a law enforcement disciple in public. If I, Lu Qingjin, don't chase you out of the Linghua sect, my surname will not be Lu. Let's go. Tomorrow, we'll take the arrest warrant to arrest her. Let's see if she still dares to disobey. Sanjiaoyan saw that he wouldn't be able to gain any advantage today, so he called for the other 2 people to leave angrily. Little Jio, what should we do? Yunchuzi and the others looked at Yunchujio in fear. Don't worry, I have a way. Come, let's continue to roast the rabbits. There are still a few raw ones. Yunchujio didn't care and started to build a fire again, starting to roast the rabbits. Although Yunchuzi and the others were panicking, seeing Yunchujio so calm, they didn't know why their hearts calmed down. Forget it, just listen to Little Jio. Little Jio will definitely have a good idea. Chapter 131. After the 7 of them finished roasting the remaining rabbits, Yun Chujio wiped her mouth and stretched lazily. Brothers and sisters, wait for me downstairs. He'll do some cleaning up and then he'll look for you. No matter what happens later, you don't have to care. Although Yun Chuzi and the others were a little worried, they knew that Yun Chujio had many ideas, so they could only head back first. After a while, they saw a few dazzling lights flash past the spot where the barbecue had been, accompanied by the sound of heavy objects falling to the ground. After a while, Yun Chujio jumped into action and caught up with Yun Chuzi and the others with Little Black. Little Jio, was there a flash on the mountain just now? Did it hurt you? Yun Chuzi asked worriedly. That's right. There was indeed a flash. But the lightning came at the right time. Come over. We'll do it this way tomorrow. Do you understand? Yun Chujio bared her little white teeth and showed a little fox-like smile. Yun Chuzi and the others were stunned when they heard that. They looked at Yun Chujio in shock. Little Jio was simply too evil. This was simply turning the tables. Little Jio, is this really a good idea? After all, we were in the wrong. Yun Chuzi could not continue because Yun Chujio was looking at him coldly. Do you guys think that I've gone too far? Shouldn't I go against the law enforcement agency? Shouldn't I obediently follow them? Yun Chujio's little face sank. Yun Chuzi and the others inexplicably felt that Little Jio was very scary at that moment, and they said in a meek voice, Little Jio, we don't have any intention of blaming you. We just don't understand. Won't this matter blow up? What would happen to us then? Yun Chujio snorted coldly. Fourth brother, take out the rules of the Spirit Radiance sect and have a closer look. If you start a fire in the back mountain, what's the crime, and what punishment will you receive? Yun Chuzi hurriedly took out the rules from his storage bag and flipped through them. Perhaps he was nervous because he could not find it even after some time. Yun Chujio said faintly, Page 5, Article 108. Yun Chuzi flipped to page 5, and as expected, Article 108 said, those who start a fire in the back mountain without permission will be punished according to the circumstances and the consequences. Those who are lightly punished will be given a verbal warning or be punished with spirit pearls or spirit stones. Those who are severely punished will be imprisoned until they reflect on their mistakes, and those who are in serious circumstances will be expelled from the sect. Our circumstances are clearly very mild, but why did Senior Brother Lu imply that it's serious? He even said that he wants to expel us from the Spirit Radiance sect? Yun Chuzi cried, oh you. That's because San Jiaoyan wants to use this as an excuse to take advantage of the situation and get revenge for his personal grudge. Yun Chujio laughed coldly. Little Jio, what do you mean? Revenge? San Jiaoyan has nothing to do with us, right? Yun Chuzi asked in confusion. At first, I just thought he looked familiar, but after hearing his name, I suddenly realized. Do you remember that miserable group that we eliminated in the 3rd round? Wasn't that group leader called Lu Qinghua? That triangular-eyed man was called Lu Qingzhen, and he looked so much like San Jiaoyan. Perhaps he was a relative. Yun Chujio saw that Yun Chuzi and the others still did not seem to understand, and she sighed in her heart. The Yun family had protected them too well, and they were all a little too kind. Looks like it was time to get them out of their heads. That triangular-eyed man was rude and unreasonable from the start. He deliberately threatened us with all sorts of words and actions. Do you think he usually enforces the law like that? He's setting a trap for us to fall into. I bet that as long as we obediently leave with them tonight, not only will we be expelled from the Spirit Radiance sect tomorrow, but we will also be tortured. Brothers and sisters, this isn't Yi City, nor is it the Yun family. Although the Spirit Radiance sect is a famous sect, there are still quite a number of dirty and sinister people here. Why do you think we were assigned to the most useless Middle Peak kitchen? Why did that disciple deliberately lead us around a big circle? Why was the array formation done in the big kitchen even though he knew that we had not eaten dinner? Why were we caught red-handed by the law enforcement agency the moment we roasted the rabbits? You must remember that from this moment on, you must remain vigilant at all times. Otherwise, not only will you be expelled from the Spirit Radiance sect, you will lose your own lives and those of your brothers and sisters. Do you understand? Chapter 132. She was not human at all. Yunchuji's words undoubtedly had a huge impact on Yunchuzi and the others. For a moment, they were silent. Qing Si looked at Yunchujio with admiration. Little Jio is absolutely right. I've fully experienced what it means to not have the intention to harm others, but to be wary of others. If it weren't for me, I would have been dead long ago. Yunchujio only smiled. It's getting late. Everyone go back and rest. We have a busy day tomorrow. Yunchuzi and the others looked as if they were deep in thought as they returned to their own courtyards in confusion. Yunchujio returned to her own courtyard. She did not know where to get water, so she laid on the bed to rest without washing up. Little Black was afraid that Yunchujio would settle the score after autumn, so he obediently lied in a corner of the bed and pretended to be dead. Although she had experienced a lot that day, Yunchujio had always been a heartless person, so she fell asleep soon enough. Early next morning, there was the sound of a bell ringing and old man Huang's loud voice. Get up. Let's go to work. Yunchujio rolled around with the quilt in her arms. She woke up so early. She was torturing herself. I must think of a way to get old man Huang to allow me to sleep in. Yunchujio muttered a few words before struggling to get out of bed. She brought Little Black out of the courtyard. Yunchuzi and the others were already waiting for her outside the courtyard. Each of them had big dark circles under their eyes. It was obvious that they did not sleep well the night before. Little Gio, I thought it through last night. You're right. I shouldn't have the benevolence of a woman. Little Gio, if we do something wrong in the future, you can scold us harshly. Little Gio, sixth brother is stupid. They'll listen to you from now on. Yunchujio giggled. Not everything I say is right. Let's remind each other in the future. Let's go, time to work. Oh right, Little Gio, how do you know the 108th rule on page 5 of the sect rules? The one about the fire prevention. When I was collecting the item, I flipped through it once and remembered it. What's so difficult about that? Yunchujio said carelessly and then hopped toward the big kitchen. I flipped through it once. I remembered it. I remembered it. What's so difficult about that? Little Gio, are you showing off or are you showing off? Are you doing this on purpose? Everyone looked at each other and had a consensus in their hearts. Little Gio's brain was different from theirs. She was not human at all. Yunchujio really did not do it on purpose. This fellow felt that it was normal for her to look at such a thin piece of paper and remember things. Yunchuzi and the rest followed Yunchujio into the big kitchen with a dumbfounded look. It was already busy inside. Although breakfast was relatively simpler, there were nearly 2,000 people at Middle Peak, so the workload was very heavy. The big kitchen was divided into two parts. In front was the place for the disciples to eat. The kitchen staff laid out all kinds of food, and those who came to eat could take it for themselves. Behind the big kitchen was the back kitchen. The cooking was all done in the back kitchen. The back kitchen was very big. There were 20 stoves, and each stovetop was 5 times the size of an ordinary stovetop. There was already a fragrance filling the big pot. The 7 people had just entered when they were called over by their respective stewards. Yunchujio followed Bei Yuan to a stovetop. Bei Yuan called over a handyman. Wang Yuan, teach this little girl how to light the fire. The handyman, named Wang Yuan, looked very gentle. As he was looking after the 5 stovetops, he taught Yunchujio. Little girl, this pot is boiling rice porridge. When the pot is boiling, the fire should be gentle. If the fire is too big, remove the firewood. If the fire is too small, add more firewood. Do you understand? Yunchujio nodded obediently. She squatted on the ground and began the first day of her career as a fire girl. Chapter 133. Sorry, my hand slipped. Yunchujio looked at the red stove and thought to herself, how good would it be if I could get a few sweet potatoes and throw them into the oven to roast? If I really can't get sweet potatoes, I can get a few potatoes too. Although Yunchuzi and the others were worried about the law enforcement agency, they could not help but relax when they saw Yunchujio acting as if nothing had happened. They focused on the work in hand. An hour later, Middle Peak's outer disciples came down to have breakfast one after another. As for the inner disciples and elders, there were special handymen who came down to take their food. This was the difference in levels. Of course, there were also some disciples who took more food at a time so as to not delay their cultivation. After all, the food would not turn cold or go bad when it was placed in the storage bag. Yun Chujio initially did not feel that there was anything wrong with being a handyman in the big kitchen. Now, she felt that it was not good. It was very bad. Very bad. It was because the feeling of seeing but not being able to taste the food was really just too uncomfortable. Whether it was the boiling porridge in the pot or the big steamed bun, they could only look at it and not eat it. It was simply terrible, was it not? Senior Brother Wang, when can the people in the big kitchen have breakfast? Yun Chujio swallowed her saliva dozens of times and finally could not hold it in anymore. Wang Yuan smiled. When the people in front are almost gone, we can have our breakfast. What's the matter? Are you hungry? Wait a moment. Seeing that there was no one in front of the steamer, Wang Yuan quickly took a big bun from inside and handed it to Yun Chujio. He said in a low voice, "Squat behind the stove and eat. No one will notice." Yun Chujio felt that Wang Yuan was the bodhisattva who saved the world, a little angel waving her wings. After thanking him in a low voice, she took the bun and started eating it happily. Wang Yuan could not help but shake his head when he saw Yun Chujio wolfing down the bun. When Elder Huang had left last night, he had specially instructed Manager Ding, who had come back later, not to activate the array formation until the 7 new children had eaten. Who would have thought that just as Elder Huang left, Manager Ding had activated the array formation? Manager Ding had a strong backing. Even Elder Huang could not do anything to him. The new children would probably have a hard time in the future. Finally, when the disciples in front had mostly dispersed, the odd-job workers in the big kitchen began to eat. Although there were only a few simple types of food, the ingredients used were all rich in spiritual energy, so they tasted very good. Yun Chujio took the bowl and picked up 2 steamed buns. She placed them under her feet and fed them to Little Black. Bastard! These are food for humans to eat. How can they be eaten by a beast? It was already very kind of her to let you bring this unlucky thing in, but you actually want to feed it steamed buns? Originally, it was already good enough for our big kitchen to keep you 7 good-for-nothings. Now, you want to raise beasts as well. You must be dreaming. A man with slightly blue eye circles pointed at Yun Chujio's nose and cursed loudly. Yun Chujio's eyes darkened. Did she not have a good relationship with this spirit radiant sect? Why were there so many scumbags coming out of nowhere? If something had to be said, then just say it nicely. They opened their mouths to talk about this but shut up about all the other nonsense. Were they trying to see if they were easy to bully? Before Yun Chujio could do anything, Little Black was already furious. You scum. You actually dare to scold this young master. Curse you to fall and die. The man was still cursing when his legs suddenly went weak and he fell to the ground. Yun Chujio let go and the bowl of porridge in her hand fell on the man's head. The porridge in the bowl burned the man's face. Oh no! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My hand slipped. You were just scolding me just now. Why are you suddenly lying on the ground? Yun Chujio shook her hand and looked annoyed and guilty. Yun Chuzi and the others were sure that little Jio did it on purpose. They lit a candle in their hearts for that person. He actually dared to provoke little Jio during mealtime. He must have been tired of living. Chapter 134. Take a look. The man on the ground almost fainted from anger. He wiped his face with his hand. You stinky girl. I'll make sure you're well acquainted with the rules here. The man got up and reached out his hand to hit Yun Chujio as Elder Huang reached out and grabbed the man's arm. Manager Ding. This is just an accident. If you don't let her feed her spiritual pet, then just don't allow it. Yun Chujio, don't feed your spiritual pet with spiritual food in the future, do you hear me? Elder Huang winked at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio understood and said, yes. I know I'm wrong. I won't do this in the future. Manager Ding glared at Yun Chujio viciously. I'll let you off this time on account of Elder Huang. Don't offend me in the future, or I won't let you off. Manager Ding kicked the table where Yun Chujio and the others were eating and left. Mei Li was panting heavily and was about to chase after them when Ho Tian also stood up angrily. Although Bei Yuan did not do anything, there was anger in his eyes. The rest of them also showed dissatisfaction and resentment. Old Man Huang sighed. Forget it. Forget it. We can't afford to offend him. Let's eat. Little girl, try to avoid him in the future. Don't you have a storage bag? Put more spiritual food in the storage bag and feed this little thing when we return to the dormitory. Yun Chujio nodded. She wondered what kind of background that bullshit manager Ding had that made the people at the kitchen so afraid. She would ask again after some time. They were not familiar with each other then, so they might not be willing to tell her. Just after breakfast, someone shouted arrogantly from outside, Yun Chuzi, Yun Chu, Yun Chujio. Come out. On the order of our law enforcement agency's Elder Shao, we will take you to be interrogated. Little girl, what's going on? Elder Huang was shocked. How did they provoke West Peak's law enforcement agency after only being there for a day? Yun Chujio pursed her lips. Elder Huang, I didn't want to mention this at first. Since they're here, well, let's talk outside. Everyone in the big kitchen followed Yun Chujio and the others out. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and picked up a large copper basin and a spoon to hold the dishes. Although everyone was baffled, no one said anything. Yun Chujio, you dare to beat up law enforcement disciples. We're under Elder Shao's orders to bring you in to interrogate. The one who spoke was Lu Qingjin. He looked at Yun Chujio viciously. Darn girl, as long as you are expelled from the Spirit Radiance sect, it would be the start of your doom. Elder Huang smiled apologetically. Junior brother, is there some misunderstanding? Yun Chujio and the others just reported to duty at our big kitchen last night. How could they beat up law enforcement disciples? Get out of my way, you old bastard. You're just a handyman and have no right to speak. Lu Qingjin pushed Elder Huang away. Elder Huang was caught off guard and almost fell. Yun Chujio jumped forward and kicked Lu Qingjin in the stomach. Lu Qingjin was unprepared. He was kicked more than 100 feet away by Yun Chujio. Never in his dreams did Lu Qingjin think that Yun Chujio would have the guts to kick him in front of so many people. Shut your damn mouth. Didn't your family teach you how to respect the old and love the young? Do you know how to speak human language? Yun Chujio said as she jumped to Lu Qingjin's side. While he was still in a daze, she kicked his mute acupoint. Yun Chujio picked up the spoon and banged on the copper basin. Come and take a look. The West Peaks Law Enforcement Agency is bullying us. They're going to storm Middle Peaks Dining Hall. Those from the south and the north, don't miss it. Chapter 135. No choice but to suffer in silence. There were still some disciples who had not left the cafeteria. When they heard the commotion, they all ran out to watch the commotion. Although they did not care about the people in the cafeteria, and they usually yelled a lot, no matter what, this was Middle Peak's territory. If the people from the West Peak came here to show off, would it not be a slap to the face for Middle Peak? Seeing that more and more people were watching, Yun Chujio jumped onto a big rock with a whoosh. Her small face wrinkled, and she said with a grievance, Senior brothers and sisters, the 7 of us were just assigned to Middle Peak's big kitchen last night. As it was too late, the canteen was already closed. We were so hungry that we thought of going up the mountain to find some wild fruits to satisfy our hunger. Unexpectedly, as soon as we reached the top of the mountain, a few bolts of lightning came down from the sky and struck the trees nearby. The few of us looked at it and realized that this was our Middle Peaks property. How could we just stand by and watch? Thus, we spent a lot of effort to put out the fire. Just as we were about to head back, guess what we discovered? Yun Chujio kept them guessing in a mysterious manner. Everyone's appetite was raised. They widened their eyes and pricked up their ears to continue listening. We discovered that the lightning coincidentally killed a nest of rabbits. We were already hungry, so how could we endure the smell of roasted meat? Thus, we ate the rabbit meat there. Who would have thought that Lu Qingjin brought 2 people up to scold us without any reason, saying that we were going to set fire to the mountain and drive us out of the sect? Hearing what he said, we were immediately frightened and hurriedly tried to explain. However, he didn't listen to our explanation at all and wanted to tie us up and take us to West Peak. We let that be, but kept foul-mouthing us, saying that those in Middle Peak were all losers and that we're useless. Originally, we wanted to endure it, but hearing what he said made us instantly furious. It's fine if he wronged us, but he actually dared to insult Middle Peak. Thus, we started arguing with him. We don't know if he's guilty or not, but he missed a step and slipped down a small hill. We thought that this matter would be settled, but unexpectedly, he actually called a deer a horse and slandered us for beating up law enforcement disciples. Everyone, don't you think he's bullying us too much? Although Yun Chuzi and the others cooperated with her and revealed an aggrieved and angry expression, their hearts felt as if thousands of divine beasts were whizzing past them. Little Gio, you really aren't human. Your lies are too smooth. If we weren't the parties involved, we would all think that what you said was true. Fuck. Those bastards from the West Peak are such bullies, aren't they? Are they bullying us for being nobodies? That's right. What's wrong with West Peak's law enforcement agency? What does it have to do with you guys if we eat a few rabbits that were killed by lightning? Could it be that the rabbits are your ancestors? Damn it. Why didn't you fall to your death? How dare they come to us and bite us back? Get lost. Yun Chujia's eyes lit up. Fuck, the people from Middle Peak are really to my liking. The scolding was too good and was so technical. She added fuel to the fire. Senior brothers and sisters, we, the individuals from Middle Peak, are reasonable people. Don't listen to my words. Let Lu Qingzhen say something. Lu Qingzhen, tell me. Is what I said true? Yun Chujio pointed at Lu Qingzhen, who was so angry that he almost passed out. Lu Qingzhen had already been helped up by someone. When he heard Yun Chujia's nonsense, he was so angry that he wanted to scold her. However, he was shocked to find that no matter how hard he tried to talk, he could not say a word. He was so furious that his face was red. However, he could not say a single word. Chapter 136. Really fucking useless. When everyone saw this, they were even more certain that what Yun Chujio said was true. Otherwise, why did Lu Qingzhen not say anything? He must be feeling guilty. Yun Chujio smiled contemptuously. Did everyone see that? What do you mean by staying speechless? This is what he meant. He didn't have any reason and still came to Middle Peak to act atrociously. He's really too much. He wants to bring us to West Peak's law enforcement agency hall. In order not to cause trouble for Middle Peak, we obediently followed him. It's just that he's too much of a bully. After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she jumped down from the big rock and walked to the side of Yun Chuzi and the others. She sighed. Brothers and sisters, let's follow them. The West Peak's law enforcement agency isn't someone we can afford to offend. I didn't expect that in order to protect the Middle Peak's property, we would be backstabbed by Lu Qingzhen. We can only blame our bad luck. The disciples of the Middle Peak immediately exploded. Even those who had courage could not bear it all. The people of the West Peak were too much of a bully. This was a slap in the face to them. Damn it. Let's go. Well, go too. I don't believe that this Spirit Radiance sect doesn't have rules. Why does the West Peak's law enforcement agency have the say-so? They can do whatever they want now. That's right. What right do they have to bully the people of Middle Peak? Besides, these 7 rookies have just entered the sect. How could they be so bold as to beat up the disciples of the law enforcement agency? Well, they had already selectively forgotten about the matter of Yun Chujio kicking Lu Qingzhen. Let's go. Let's go. Well, all go with them. Didn't they say that Elder Xiao Pancher of the West Peak is the most impartial? Would like to see how he handles this matter. Lu Qingzhen was so angry that he was trembling, but he could not say anything. The 2 people who were with him the day before did not follow him, so he could only glare at Yun Chujio. He was furious in his heart. Stupid girl, just you wait. When we reach the West Peak and have a witness, let's see how you'll defend yourself. Yun Chujio maintained a wronged look on her face. From time to time, she would even twitch a few times. Some of the female disciples of Middle Peak could not bear it anymore and kept comforting her. Junior sister, don't be afraid. The people of Middle Peak aren't easy to bully. That's right. We're not afraid of the shadow. If the law enforcement agency of the West Peak is unreasonable, we will not let it go. Yun Chujio suddenly burst into tears. Sob. You guys are really too kind. That's great. I, Yun Chujio, will be a member of Middle Peak in the future. If I die, I'll be a ghost of Middle Peak. If anyone dares to say bad things about our Middle Peak, I'll bite them to death. The more Yun Chujio talked, the more the disciples of the Middle Peak felt that Lu Qingshan's crime was unforgivable. All of them gritted their teeth and stared at him, wishing they could go up and smite him. Lu Qingshan was about to break down. According to common sense, these 7 odd job workers should be trembling in fear and obediently following him. How did they make it such a big issue? He thought about it again. So what if they made it a big issue? There was no thunder and lightning yesterday. They were the ones who started the fire. The bigger the issue, the heavier the punishment would be for them. Yun Chujio tapped the copper basin with her spoon and began to sing, "Little cabbage, yellow in the ground, poor child, bullied, wronged. Peach blossoms bloom, apricot blossoms fall. No one cares, a gust of wind, wronged. Yun Chujio's singing was very sincere, and Little Black on the side cried. It was really sad to hear, and one would tear just from listening. When everyone heard it, they all felt that Lu Qingshan was really something. Chapter 137. No matter what time it was, there was no lack of spectators. Soon, there were more and more people behind Yun Chujio. Most of them were from Middle Peak, but there were also some from other areas. The spectators were curious to find out what was going on. Since Lu Qingshan could not speak and the other members of the law enforcement team did not know the whole story, Yun Chujio patiently described the truth over and over again. After a few brainwashing sessions, even Yun Chuzi and the others felt that that was the truth. When the crowd heard what happened, they naturally could not help but scold Lu Qingshan. In addition, the West Peak Law Enforcement Agency had offended a lot of people. Immediately, the crowd became excited. The few members of the law enforcement team were so scared that they did not dare to say a word. Finally, they reached the West Peak. Lu Qingshan and the others heaved a sigh of relief. How arrogant could these people be when they reached their territory? The law enforcement agency on the West Peak was located halfway up the mountain. When the disciples of the law enforcement agency saw a huge crowd of people swarming over, they were shocked. What was the meaning of this? Why were there still people knocking on the basin and singing songs? Lu Qingshan's face was purple with anger. He rushed into the law enforcement agency hall and found the manager, Qian Chong. He angrily gestured with his hands. Qian Chong had always been good to Lu Qingshan. That day's law enforcement order was also issued by him. When he saw Lu Qingshan in that condition, he could not help but feel puzzled. "Junior brother Lu, what's wrong with you? Say something." Lu Qingshan was so anxious that he stomped his feet, but he still could not say a word. At that time, there was already an uproar outside the law enforcement agency. "Clear the name of our Middle Peak disciple. Clear the name of our Middle Peak disciple." Lu Qingshan had gone too far. Kick that scum Lu Qingshan out of the Spirit Radiance sect. Qian Chong was really a little dumbfounded. Did Lu Qingshan not went out to arrest people? Why was he being chased out of the sect now? What was going on? Qian Chong quickly called the people who followed Lu Qingshan over. After asking about the situation, he frowned. He did not know whether Yun Chujio had done it intentionally or not, but she had actually caused a huge commotion. If he did not handle it well, it would definitely cause the dissatisfaction of Middle Peak. At that point, it was better to ask Elder Shao to handle it personally. Qian Chong rushed to the door and cupped his hands at the crowd. "Everyone, please don't jump to conclusions before the matter is fully investigated. I will go and..." Seeing Qian Chong being so polite, the crowd did not dare to say anything else, so they temporarily quieted down. Qian Chong did not dare to be negligent and hurriedly went to ask Elder Shao Pancher. "Elder Shao, something has happened at the law enforcement agency." Qian Chong rushed to the outside of Elder Shao's courtyard and reported anxiously. "Something has happened? What happened?" Elder Xiao quickly walked out of the courtyard. Qian Chong rambled on about what had happened. Elder Xiao frowned and said with slight disgust, "Yesterday, I said that this Yun Chujio was opportunistic and restless. Indeed, she has only entered the sect for one day and has already caused such a big incident. How naughty!" "Elder Xiao, why do you think junior brother Lu suddenly lost his voice?" Qian Chong was very puzzled. "That little girl has a lot of wicked ideas. She must have done something. This old man is not blind. Let's go and take a look." If what Lu Qingzhen said is true, this Yun Chujio should indeed be expelled from the Spirit Radiance sect. Elder Xiao said angrily as he walked. The two of them had yet to reach the law enforcement agency when they heard someone screaming non-stop. It was like the wailing of ghosts and howling of wolves. It was too horrible to listen to. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.